Welcome to the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. Your adventure into the world of comic book movies starts here.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. My name's Travis.
And I'm Patrick.
How you been, sir?
Oh, I've been.
You've been all over the world.
Oh, Lordy. It sucks getting old.
Yeah.
That's all. Yep.
What you been up to?
Can't even sleep without hurting myself.
Do you have one of those sneezes where you threw out your back?
No, I just slept bad, like in a weird position.
Yeah.
It may have been something else, but yeah, woke up in the middle of the night, pinched a nerve in my neck, couldn't move my right arm.
Jeez.
I was having a heart attack because it was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was like, arm pain. And I was like, oh, wait, wrong arm. So, but I'm getting to that age where that's where I go to first.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, heart attack.
I've been there a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, God damn. Not like, oh, what's wrong? I'm just fit as a fiddle. This doesn't make sense. Nope. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like over 40.
Mm-hmm. Is this the one?
Shape.
Yeah.
Job stressful. Got a mortgage to pay. Son of a bitch. It's heart attack. But I just a pinched nerve. So
yeah,
sucked, but much better now.
Let's take our mind off of our physical ailments and
let's teleport back in time.
Yeah, to a
younger time.
Right, in a more innocent age. 1998.
17. Cruising, looking for chicks, not getting any, but looking.
Yeah.
And another movie I never saw.
Yeah.
Was this straight to video or did this have a theatrical?
Yeah, this was straight to video.
Okay.
We're doing Batman, Mr. Freeze, SubZero. Went straight to video. It was intended to come out. There was like a marketing tie-in with Batman and Robin, because of the Mr. Freeze and Batgirl kind of focus. They thought, hey, let's market these things together. Maybe we'll release them, close to each other. And then Batman and Robin came out and was not, received, the best. So they held on to this one for a little while and then released it I think maybe in March of March 17th, 1998.
Jeez.
So I have no memory of seeing this the first time. I probably caught it on, I don't know, like a Cartoon Network may have aired it, or maybe I rented it. I can't imagine renting a Batman movie like this. But either way, I saw it at some point, and I've seen it a few times over the years. Not for several years at this point, but enjoyed it for what it was. I don't remember falling in love with it or anything, but it was fine. I remembered. We'll see where we end up at the end. But
yeah, I mean, the story I felt like I already knew, so it wasn't like any shocking revelations or anything.
Sure.
It wasn't like the Phantasm or anything. Like
new
villain.
Yeah, it's the plot's pretty simple. It's basically Mr. Freeze has been isolated for a long time and ends up getting his wife, who he has in a containment, unit, which I think tracks from the last time we saw him in the animated series. At this point, he got his wife and was just like chilling up in just living up in the like Arctic Circle maybe. And I think that's even part of the plot. Or when we first meet him, I think he's closer to the North Pole or something like that. And it gets disrupted by a research submarine or something like that. And her containment unit gets busted open, so it kind of forces him to have to take drastic measures to save her life. So
yeah, it was weird, the whole like research crew thing. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it opens on a strange choice of just a real quick, simple, like kind of flowing through this cave, and they use the '89 Batman
Yeah,
music or a part of it. It's probably 20 seconds maybe of just kind of slowly panning through this cave, and then you see the logo come up and it changes to ice, gets blasted by ice and then breaks apart. And
yeah,
for what it is, it's fine. I think it's a little strange to use that '89 music when if you're trying to tie this into your Batman and Robin movie, why not use maybe the Elliot Goldenthal uh,
yeah,
Batman music? I don't know, but that could have been a choice made, after the whole, well, let's not release this with Batman and Robin, so maybe they changed it and just threw the '89 music over it. I don't know, but
yeah.
I mean, it works, either way, I suppose. But did you find any taglines on this? I can't
Oh
imagine there were.
no, I didn't even bother because I
Okay,
thought it was not for
being
theater.
yeah, being direct to DVD, I doubt there was any.
There might have been something on the box or something,
Yeah,
but I'm sure it was
um,
something with freezing.
yeah,
Some Arnold Schwarzenegger pun. But yeah, I was watching the polar bears swim with Freeze there,
yeah.
and the submarine's going around, and
Mhm.
I honestly don't understand the whole submarine bit, but um, it's they
Yeah.
chose a really elaborate way to get into a cave. I don't like. There's like zero room
Yeah.
at all. But
I don't know
yeah, I
what they
didn't.
were, why they were surfacing there. I don't recall if it says, let's go here. I don't
I
know what they
figured
were.
for shelter maybe, like so they
See, I
could,
don't.
but
Maybe.
they
Yeah.
can shelter in the sub. So I don't.
Yeah.
I, I didn't get it. Like there was zero room for them to surface,
Yeah.
and they just was like, boom, Kool Aid.
And I had to look up whether or not submarines like this could actually surface through ice, and they can.
Yeah,
And pretty much the way they show it, where they'll
yeah,
I guess that the I don't know what you call it, the part of the submarine that comes up.
hmm
Um, uh,
yeah. I don't know
I
what you
wish
call
I
it
knew
either.
the name of it. Conning tower might be it, but I don't know. I don't know if that's right. um Either way, they can retract like antennas and
Mhm.
periscopes, so those are
Yeah,
completely retracted into the sub, and then yeah, if they go slow enough with enough pressure, yeah, they can just about bust through um anything. So
yeah. They just threaded a needle. That's all. It was.
yeah.
But I didn't realize Freeze didn't need to breathe underwater. I'm guessing all he had
Yeah,
was like a snorkel. It was weird.
I think they play fast and loose with his abilities because oh, he can survive in sub-zero temperatures, so maybe that means
hmm
he can survive in Arctic, in waters, that low of temperature. I don't know. Maybe he's just really good at holding his breath. I guess with his body the way it is,
Yeah,
running
that's
at
the way I
such a
went.
low temperature,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe he doesn't need to breathe that often. So
yeah.
I guess I would go with that. Let's
Just enough to need a snorkel. Apparently,
Yeah, yeah,
he's like a whale. And I'm
yeah.
impressed by the polar bears too. I didn't know they could
Oh,
hold
sure.
that long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, he's just kind of living life down in the or up in the Arctic Circle. He has like a small boy that lives with him, or
yeah.
you
Well,
know,
if Batman's gonna do it, he can do it.
that's true. Yeah. His name's
His name like
Kunak.
yeah.
Yeah, I tried looking up Kunak. I couldn't find anything that, led me to believe that they didn't just make up the name because it sounded Inuit, I guess. Um, I think maybe it
Yeah.
later on in the movie when he's talking to Barbara, I think maybe he gives her some explanation as to what happened to his family or something. But
I think he just said that they're dead,
okay,
and
yeah,
Freeze took them in basically. But yeah, I kind of like the submarine. They did some weird lighting, like red lighting
oh
to
yeah, I noticed that.
reflect the screens, I guess,
Yeah,
for or whatever the hell's red in there. I don't know.
yeah.
It was kind of cool looking though.
hmm
But
I like the when the research team exits. They're investigating this cave, and then they come back to find the entire crew of the submarine all frozen. Like that was pretty cool, I thought. So it tells us that Freeze had gotten into the sub, gotten everyone out,
Well, that makes sense because I assume he stole the sub and got back to Gotham.
I guess, yeah. Must
And,
have. How do you get a polar bear onto a submarine?
Yeah, polar bears were a bit of a stretch as companions, but
yeah,
I was more confused as to how he kept his wife alive.
yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, how did you keep her alive? Because it even cuts to Gotham. It says 2 weeks later, so I don't know how he's kept Nora alive those 2 weeks. What his, I don't know.
So I just assumed I'll never understand and moved on.
Yeah,
but
I noticed like throughout the submarine sequence, especially, and some of this early stuff, they're using a lot of blend of CGI, for the submarine, for like the fish swimming around, like a lot of I noticed when they did like a wide shot in the ice cave when I think right before maybe the sub bursts through, and it's just like a odd early CGI shot of Freeze standing there with Nora's containment tube, and Kunak is there. It's very poorly, but it's quick enough, and it's little detailed enough that it's fine. But there's a lot of that throughout parts of the movie, though. But
I think we'll get to it much later, but there's a part of that I actually liked.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So of course, Gotham's going through a heat wave.
Sure. As you do in a Mr. Freeze episode.
Yep, got to juxtapose those two things.
Which is something that they did in the first Mr. Freeze episode, the Heart of Ice episode. It was also like, oh, it's a heat wave, and then suddenly there's all these ice related crimes, like things are getting frozen, and it's like, how how is this happening? But
get a haphazard jewelry heist.
Yeah.
Just to set the pace. Batman's here.
It's a solid enough intro with Batman and Robin. I wonder if it's maybe not enough. This being a quote unquote movie, their introduction is just kind of, some crooks rob a jewelry store, Batman chases them down, and Robin's just there, it's
I didn't
fine.
know Robin was in this. So
sure. Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey, it's Robin. And he's not a child, so that's good.
Yeah. I always like the animated series version of Robin, like, because he is like a college kid,
Yeah. I didn't realize Barbara was in it as Batgirl. Like, there's a lot of little surprises like that. Yeah. But I like the cape over the getaway car.
That's not bad. Yeah. I like when the punks finally stop the car and they're like, what happened? They don't realize that Batman's cape is completely obscuring the windows. And I like how I think he points, or he's like pushes on the cape outside the window, and then suddenly just Batman's face is right there. And it's an animation style on Batman's face that I've never seen before. I've never seen them show his gritted teeth like that. Like, that really stood out. One thing I thought was interesting is he grabs the driver, and I feel like because the other guy, the passenger, is the one who beat up the jewelry store owner, he was really rough on the guy. And so I thought, I'm surprised that Batman isn't roughing up him while Robin takes care of the other guy who was just a getaway driver. Just really one of those things.
Guy, though?
He smacked him and sent him flying. So
it looked like he just took his whacking stick and pushed him down.
No, there was definitely like a backhand that sent him.
I think that was a classic soccer flop.
Here we go. Patrick defending the jewelry thief. Right. Yeah. Someone's got to represent the guilty, I guess.
I think he went, oh my God, my arm.
Yeah.
I think he laid it on pretty thick. That old man knew what he was doing. He was trying to get some kind of compensation.
The standout moment in the sort of post, the cops are coming, Batman and Robin swing away, and Batman gets a call from Alfred on his cell phone.
Yeah.
That was new. That was
I wasn't ready for that
hadn't
either.
Seen that before. Yeah.
Alfred was a little bit of a snarky, I
guess.
guess.
This Alfred is sassy. He can be a little bitch.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like this, I like this Alfred.
What we do without you? And he's like, I don't know, or something like that. I was like, okay, Alfred's a little sassy. All
yeah. Right. I think feel like we run into Gordon, I think, and
Gordon.
I love this Jim Gordon.
No, not this movie, Jim Gordon.
No. Okay.
No, he is like on a creep level that is disturbing to me.
Really?
The way he acts about Barbara.
Okay.
He's like, oh yeah, she's got tons of dudes throwing themselves at her. And then he's like, I don't know, he like said she was like killer looking or something. I don't know. She looked, it was a weird like a weird relationship. Like he basically said she was hot, and then like he's like, I don't know. It was weird. I got a creepy dad vibe from him.
Okay. I like though that he's talking about his daughter, and then it cuts to her in the park kicking ass, as Batgirl. So I really like that. I think this is a better character intro than Batman and Robin just had,
Mm-hmm.
So I liked it. I thought it worked for me. And I like that it establishes that Dick is interested in Barbara. Like they're kind of seeing each other a little bit, or he's, at least asking Gordon if it's all right if he, spends time with his daughter.
Yeah, he's like, there's plenty of guys after, but you're like first in line or something. It was weird. I don't know. It was just a weird conversation with him and his talking about Barbara.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed unnatural and just
okay.
Why would he be so like?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird to me. But then Bruce gets like set up in a 3-way or 4-way technically, I guess.
Yeah, it really this whole party thing seemed oddly similar to the Batman, the Mask of the Phantasm sort of party scene that we first see, and there's like a trio of women around Bruce then, and in that one he's so dejected by all of it, and he has to exit to another room just to deal with this sort of bullshit that he has to put up with to be Batman. And here he is having fun with encouraging Dick to spend time with Barbara, and then gets I think this is Veronica Vreeland, one of the series regulars as far as Batman, sometime dating kind of, and she introduces him to like these 3 women, and he seems happy about it this time. Like he's not like, ugh, So I don't know. It's an interesting take on, like, they're not focusing on Bruce's relationship in this movie with anyone, so they can kind of show him as, I guess, just having fun. So
it's more focused on Robin and his, I guess, attempted wooing of Barbara.
Yeah,
and I know we get to meet the great doctor.
He's at this party.
He kind of creeps me out the way they animated the eyes.
Yeah, his eyes are a creepy pale blue. Yeah.
Then they switch from having whites in the eyes on the side to then front on, it's just blue pupils.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I was like, I saw other people at the party and they don't have that look. So I don't know why they chose to do that, but I
don't know why they do that with some characters sometimes, it's,
but it starts the gag of Robin getting drinks spilled on him by people. So because it's got that going for it. But we get to see the doctor in a huff because of some poor stock choices or futures, or whatever the heck it was.
He's having money problems. His banker or his money guy is at this party, and he's harassing him about like, hey, I need to talk to you. I need this deal to work out or something. Like, we need to talk about my finances because I need to get, this stuff in order quick. And then he leaves the party kind of in a huff, speeds off, and again, we already know that there's like a heat wave, but then they emphasize that by he's like in the car, he's sweating. He turns on the air conditioning, and then I like how he goes over a hill, and then suddenly there's ice and snow everywhere, and he wrecks his car, and the car wreck is really done well, I thought.
Yeah.
Just the way they animated it and the way they have him reacting to all of it, I thought was really cool.
Yeah. And then we get Red Eyes Freeze.
Yeah, this freeze design. This freeze design, going back to the Heart of Ice episode, the first time we see Mr. Freeze in this series. The costume and the look is designed by Mike Mignola, who did Hellboy. Like, he's the guy behind Hellboy. So he did some character designs early on for this show, and specifically on Mr. Freeze. And it's simple, but it's effective. And Michael and Sarah returning to voice Mr. Freeze, and he just is amazing at this voice. I always remember hearing, must have been Andrea Romano who did the voice casting for this show. I think she was maybe on a episode of Fat Man on Batman years ago, the Kevin Smith podcast, and talking about having him do Freeze and coming in and just directing him to, like, can you do it with less emotion? Like, each time, just like, okay, but like less emotion than that.
Yeah.
And yeah, he got to this point where he was able just to sound almost like a robot. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess his wife being in danger triggers that, because he seemed like kind of more warm, like when he was with the polar bears and Kunak, and and then he comes back again later on as well.
Yeah, I think that is something that they chose to do to show him, like, when he's accepted kind of his lot in life, like he still has Nora, and he's got this kid, and he's got the polar bears, and like he's accepted that is his life. He can be a little more, have a little more humanity, I guess. But yeah, once that's kind of taken away from him, then yeah, he's back to the cold,
Yeah.
So, let's see. Yeah, I think then we.
Robin does his best to woo her to the coast for the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's kind of a forgettable scene, honestly. But.
Sure. It just kind of builds that they are in a relationship, or they're starting their relationship and seeing each other. I can't remember now at this point. I thought in the series, when they introduced Batgirl, I thought it was pretty quick that she is taken in, like, to the Batcave. She knows who Batman and Bruce, or who Bruce and Dick are, but I don't get a sense from this, and maybe I'd have to wait till we get to the end of the movie. I can't remember if she knows that Dick is Robin. I can't remember if that's a factor in this movie, or
I assume they already knew each other
I think, but I can't remember her. I can't remember the first Batgirl episode enough to know if she's brought into the secret, because she kind of just takes on the role of being Batgirl to save her father. Gordon gets framed, and they need Batman to show up at like a save Commissioner Gordon kind of rally, and she goes to Batman and says, "Hey, can you come save my help, put in a good word for my father?" And he's like, "I don't really do personal appearances." And so she's like, "Well, Batman's going to be there one way or the other." So she makes a Batman costume just to pose as Batman, to make it look like, oh, he is there, so the crowd can see him and everything. And then something happens, and she actually has to stop a crime and becomes Batgirl. So it's not like they let her, like, it's not like Batman sees this girl and trains her like a Robin. She just does it on her own. So she's kind of her own self-made sort of hero.
Yeah, see, as somebody not as familiar with that, and the fact that truly she is Alfred's niece. Um,
All right, you're a purist. I forgot.
Yeah. She just plugged in his code 12345 and got to the Batcave.
Yeah, where Uncle Alfred already had her measurements.
Yep.
And everything ready to go for a bat costume. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah,
canon right there. So
right. Yeah, you're right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I just assumed that they knew what each other were, but
I don't think they do.
I didn't realize that she was Batgirl before being brought into the fold. That's my problem.
Okay.
Like, I assumed if she was dressed as Batgirl, then Batman, signed off on it.
Yeah.
All then, there's copyright.
That's why I feel like the end of that episode, it's like it might even be a two-parter. I think Batman is like he gives her the okay, basically, like, well, you're not so bad, kid, something like that. But
she is fighting separate. Like, they're at the party.
Oh, yeah.
She's out doing her own thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can see. Yeah.
And maybe it's not until like the redesign that they change some stuff like that and make her part of the team. So that may be what I'm thinking of, is when they know who everyone is or whatever. Might become later. But kind of jump through the whole. The Dr. Belson gets in that car wreck and gets taken by Freeze, and then they have a scene somewhere where Nora's there, and Freeze presents him with this giant gold nugget and basically says, all of your financial problems are gone if you help save my wife. And I feel like that's when we find out really quick, like, she has this rare condition, she needs some organ, and the only person in Gotham who has her blood type, they do a search and everything, and they pull up Barbara Gordon. So
why would they just randomly pick her? That's what got me. Like, nobody knew Commissioner Gordon.
I feel like it has something to do. I'm looking at the scene, so there's a list of people who are a match, and I feel like they say, or maybe he says, it'd be preferable if they have similar body type. So maybe it's like a height and weight thing. Like, they are aside from just having the right blood type, they're also like a physical match, something like that, maybe.
Oh, I thought he searched that, and that's how they got to like the 18 or so.
Maybe that could be, but.
And then they just, out of those 18, he randomly chose Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, and maybe it's like, oh, Gordon, she's the daughter of the commissioner. I'll also get some revenge on Gotham, maybe, by picking his daughter. I don't know.
The doctor picked who it was.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I feel like it might have more to do with just the they're both fit females in the same ish height and weight range. That I don't know. I might be pulling that out of nowhere, but I don't know if Freeze at this point says, we need this organ needs to come from a live donor, and taking this organ would kill the donor, and Freeze is like, do it, So Dr. Belson's a little horrified at this point of the notion of doing this, but he got bills to pay, so yeah. And there's like another Dick and Barbara, like they're going out on the town, some swinging joint called Shaughnessy's. I feel like they're playing real music here, like something from like the Warner Brothers music archives or something. I know they were earlier when they were at the other party and like kissing. There was like a real song, but
yeah. And then the roommates gotta go and blab and ruin their romantic weekend.
Yeah. Tells the doctor where to find her, and yeah, there's a quick shot where like you mentioned, Dick almost gets a drink spilled on him here again, but he avoids it this time. So it's kind of a running gag here
until he gets right to her, and then whammo.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
He dodges like 3 people, and then the last one gets him. And then they toast to the tiniest amount of liquid in a cup, and all heck breaks loose. But I can never pin the era of Batman.
Yeah, well, they have cell phones, so
yeah, That's what I mean. Like,
yeah, no, it's
maybe this is the late '90s because swing music did become popular again. But
right. I feel like I forget if it was from this show. It couldn't be, but I think they adopted the phrase retro futurism. You know, there's an Art Deco quality to all the buildings. Everyone dresses like it's the 40s. Batman has technology from the far flung future of 2005, so yeah, it's a mismatch. What Batman 89 and Returns were kind of the same thing. Even the Schumacher Batman movies, like the cars, a lot of the cars were old timey, but the technology was mostly current or slightly futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because like the style makes me think 20s or like Rocketeer kind of vibes.
Yeah.
But the technology betrays that a bit. So
sure. Yeah. It's just an odd little. You don't really know when you're set, but it's just this world has its own little rules. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like
it works for the tone and the style.
Yeah, all the suits are like humongous looking. Like,
yeah, all the men look like
refrigerators,
and all the women are like
Barbie
the
dolls,
daintiest
essentially.
Barbie doll. Yeah. That's pretty much the whole series in a nutshell. Is just the men. But so this party or this nightclub sequence that Dick and Barbara are at gets interrupted by Freeze and his polar bears, which is kind of a fun scene. And he's looking for Barbara, and I think she gives herself up like right away, just because there are people's lives are at risk. So she, does the heroic thing and just, announces herself. And then of course Dick, can't stand by and let her get taken, because she, I think, goes willingly with them, if I remember right.
Because they were gonna hurt him.
Yeah.
Or freeze him, maybe. I don't know.
That's right, because he came in kind of doing a high kick at Mr. Freeze, and I think he gets like batted away or something, or the polar bears may subdue him. Yeah. So but he gives chase. Like this is a great sequence. This is a great chase sequence. Unfortunately, Barbara is like captive in the back of this armored van that Freeze has, and that's a consistent thing. It's a very similar vehicle to his first appearance. He just drives these like Herkimer battle jitneys. Junket.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about the chase was the Blues Brother-esque cop cars just running into each other one after another.
I noticed that 4 cars, and that fourth car couldn't have stopped. Yeah,
it was.
I noticed that too.
It just made me think of Blues Brothers and the absurdity of cops not being able to stop their cars from crashing into each other.
The thing that I thought was weird, like at some point, Dick gets a motorcycle, which is for his character. Like he was always a motorcycle guy. So that makes sense. And he is able to jump those cars, like because the cop cars are all crashed into each other. It gives him like a ramp. And so he jumps the cars and a semi, and then jumps in one jump, manages to get over this like toll booth that they're all crashed into. It's a bit much. It's even there's like a cop who is like witnessing this. Even he is like, just like he's impressed. He's like, damn.
Definitely surpassed Evel Knievel's abilities. But then he gets his ribs hurt on a branch.
He catches up to Freeze's truck and gets Freeze blasts the ground with ice and everything, and he loses the chase and gets banged up pretty good. But
and then Barbara's at the I guess, what is it, the oil rig or whatever.
Is that where they
that's where they take her anyway? That's where she gets rescued anyway, so that's where she's at. Because they're trying.
I couldn't remember if they established that it's a oil rig yet, but I think you're right.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
I gotcha. Seen it.
Spoilers. Some of this movie takes place in an oil rig.
Yeah, it's definitely a metallic building of sorts.
Yeah, this is like the one of several creepy moments between like this doctor and Barbara. They're trying to convince her to help out, and the doctor is like, "Here, take these drugs that I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm not going to tell you what's in them, or he just like hands her drugs to take. It's gonna they'll help you, or something. I think maybe he's trying to prepare her for surgery, in a way like, I need you to take these because I need these to be in your system or something.
Yeah, but, that's what I figured. So they could subdue her but yeah, it was it was like his plan was, I'm a doctor. Take these.
Yeah.
Like, she just got kidnapped. There's some random dude that's obviously not kidnapped, just giving her pills of questionable like effect.
Yeah. But it's like the first of many of these scenes where she tries to fight back. She kind of like, if it was just her and the doctor, she could have escaped this, absolutely, because she starts to kick the crap out of him, and then freezes there, so he stops her. But there's several of these scenes where it's like just these guys kind of beating up on this girl. I don't know. By like the third time, I was like, man, this just feels like torture porn at this point. So
the weird thing was, I didn't understand why she wasn't like tied down from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, well, you should have just had her in the restraints for the surgery thing. Like,
you'd think that would be the route that they take. For some reason, it's like they want to appeal to her humanity first, I guess, and get her to go along with it voluntarily, maybe. But
it makes zero sense.
It's a bad plan.
It's like they waited for her to wake up to then drug her, to then put her into restraints for the surgery.
Yeah,
it was such a Bond villain move. I was like, oh, good lord.
Yeah.
Like, all right, that's what we're doing. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Then we get some bed spring action.
I guess
before that, Dick's getting wrapped up, and
there's
Gordon's
a hospital
going on a rampage.
He's understandably upset. His daughter is missing. And I feel like this is where, Dick is getting bandaged up in the hospital. Bruce is there because it's his young ward. And the Commissioner Gordon and Bullock arrive to ask him questions, and then they leave. Everyone leaves, and then that gives Bruce the opportunity to snoop through the blood donor database. That's still active on the computer. Yep. And the thing that jumped out to me with this that wouldn't have happened in the animated series, I don't think, is that there's a close up on part of the screen that says send email. Like, he can send all this data that they've discovered, because they find that Barbara is also a match to Nora Freeze. And then if they wanted to, they could send this information as an email, which just stood out to me as that's weird for this show. I think that's the...
I would have loved if you typed in Bruce Wayne at Batman.com. You would have gotten big points from me if they did that.
Yeah.
So let me just send this to the Batmail. We're good.
That'd be good. Yeah, so this is where we get another sequence of Barbara trying to escape. She manages to basically get into the ductwork of her cell. She does the
giant
old
ductwork in every movie.
Yep. So they chase her down again. She manages to get in the same room, I think, with Nora.
Yeah, that's where she ends up.
Yeah.
Freeze is like, stop, leave her be. Get away from her. I am Mr. Freeze.
That's a pretty good Mr. Freeze.
Yep. I've been working on it.
Yeah.
I don't understand like the whole cold thing in that room.
Yeah, it's just to keep her vitals where they need her to be.
Yeah, but like, what happened to putting her in like that glass cocoon?
I don't know.
How's that equipment functioning?
Yeah, it's very specialized equipment, Patrick. I wish that there had been a route that this series had taken where Nora wakes up and she's like Mr. Freeze, maybe not a villain right away, but just like if she requires now the same cold, that he does, like why not make her, I don't know, make
Mrs.
her
Cole or Mrs.
like
Freeze.
him, and then she wakes up and she hates him, for doing this, and then that makes her a villain. I don't know. I think that would be an interesting take on this, but they didn't call me.
No.
So I'll move on. Let's see.
Oh yeah, this is where they're trying to get her to talk her into it again.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we had some bears attack. He chased you through this, shot icicles up your ass, and yeah, I want to help out still.
Yeah.
We just need your blood, honest.
Yeah.
I was like, well, then why don't you just go to the blood bank, jackass? Like, she's a donor.
She just stumbles into a room where the polar bears just are.
I know. Yeah, it looked like a storage closet.
It did.
Something.
Yeah.
Like they were just getting like a midnight snack, maybe, and they got caught, and then they were angry.
Yeah.
To take that anger out on her, I guess.
Yeah.
I did like how he froze the doorway, though.
Sure.
She just broke it open.
Yep.
It's like she'll never get through ice with a pipe.
Yeah, this is where she is kind of on the run still, and then she discovers that she's on an oil rig because she's got nowhere to go, basically.
Well, even at that point, I didn't know it was an oil rig.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I just thought she was on the coast or something. I didn't know she was like in the middle of the.
They zoom out and do like an establishing shot. And you can see that it's an oil rig.
Yeah, must have looked away.
Yeah.
Because they play it like when Bruce finds out, like it's a big reveal. So
yeah.
I just didn't recall.
Interesting bit of continuity in like the next scene where they do an establishing shot of a building, like skyscraper, and it's called Goth Corp, and their tagline is the People Corp, the People Company, and that goes back to the Heart of Ice, the first Mr. Freeze episode. The bad guy in that episode who created Mr. Freeze, his name's Ferris Boyle, voiced by Mark Hamill, before he was even had been playing the Joker, because this was like episode 4, maybe episode 2 or 4, something like that. And so it's just a nice callback that Bruce goes to visit this same company that created Mr. Freeze, and I think he goes there to talk to another scientist, and she gives him plenty of like information, like helpful information. Like she's it's a great little scene between Bruce, Dick, and this lady, this scientist that I don't know if she's like pleasant as hell and willing to share all this information that actually helps them out. So
yeah, it was we get into the common trap of convenient information.
Yeah, because I think they find out through here that someone they're working with is this Dr. Belson, who he hasn't been seen for a couple days, and then Bruce remembers like, oh yeah, that accident that I came upon the other night after the party, that car was registered to a Belson. So he like starts to piece things together. Freeze, Nora, Dr. Belson, Barbara. It's like it's all.
I personally like the fact that he knew that Dr. Belson was missing.
Yeah.
And obviously they didn't tell anyone. Like the cops.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything about it. He's just like, Belson, huh? Moving on. It's been like days and nothing.
No, that's funny.
Upside down car.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't care.
Also noticed in this movie, it's Bruce. A lot of the character designs are outside of their normal character models. Like throughout the animated series until the redesign, Bruce, like casual Bruce, was always in a Dwight Schrute looking, outfit, like brown and yellow, a brown suit with a yellow shirt or something like that. Just terrible, fashion choice. But in this, like he's sometimes in I think in the hospital scene, he was wearing like a blue polo shirt. In the scene we just talked about with where they go to the Goth Corp, like I think he's in a white button-up shirt. Like it's different character models than they typically would do. And it makes sense. This is a one-off kind of thing. They can animate things. They can spend a little bit more time. They're not cranking them out like a they're not just using the same stuff for episode by episode or whatever. But I don't know, just struck me as interesting.
Yeah. Get a little bit more variety in the movie, I guess.
Yeah. And they, at some point, I don't know where they go. They go to maybe Belson's place. Do some snooping around. They find they follow the money essentially at this point and find Belson's his money guy. So that's where they're headed next. And meanwhile, we get Barbara. She gets some dinner brought to her by Kunak.
Yeah.
I almost called him Nook.
That's right. I've called him Canuck.
Canuck, yeah.
I can never, yeah.
Yeah. So he introduces himself to her, explains that, oh, Mr. Freeze is, he's so great to me, and then kind of I forget if she convinces him to kind of just like be on the lookout for anything weird, but
she's trying to have him like help her out, and is weirdly like pretending he's much older than he is. I don't know, it's weird. It's like, oh, you must be way older than 11, or I don't know, it's weird. And like, very handsome, blah blah blah.
Well, just trying to get a kid to do what you need. But I think when you're chained to a bed, you'll probably do just about anything to,
It was just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even like, it was almost like she wasn't even trying. It was just such a pathetic attempt at flattery. I don't know. But yeah, she tries to get him to help her out, but he doesn't in the end, and Freeze is watching anyway, so
yeah.
Like the creeper he is.
So Batman and Robin go to the money guy, kind of, try to get information from him. I feel like he doesn't give up much, but then
there's nothing to give up. It's just he needs to pay off his stock thing that he did. And
yeah.
Luckily he calls and they can record it.
Yeah. They get the call. And then of course through more detective work they break down the phone call and they get, sounds of a foghorn and the bell of a what do you call them? A buoy, that sort of thing. So they start to do some more detective work and figure out, well, there's an abandoned oil derrick outside,
He flips through all his maps.
Yeah.
I only see the corner and it all looks the same, but he knows exactly which way he needs to plow. But I felt bad for the stockbroker guy. He just gets like roughed up for no reason.
Yeah. Hey.
Batman's like picking him up by his pajamas and yelling at him.
In the name of justice, what? I mean, are there,
He's like, what? He just owes money. I'm a stockbroker.
Yeah. I'm doing my job. I've not broken any laws.
He wanted me to, but I didn't. Why are you after me like this?
God damn, Batman.
Dick. You're the one that didn't even look for Belson after you found his tipped over car. Didn't even report it.
You could have stopped this, Batman.
It's your fault.
Batman, you're the worst.
I love how I end up picking apart the hero pretty often, unfortunately. It's like that old show Crossfire where you'd have like a pro and a con, just devil's advocate. I'm defending the jewelry store robber and condemning Batman.
That's right. Yep.
I'm on solid ground.
Man.
I'm impeachable.
You know what they say about podcasters? You either live long enough to see yourself become the villain,
or you stop podcasting.
Or
All right. So
so they figure out where this oil derrick is. I think there's something like, it's also owned by, probably owned by either Belson or
well, they said it was abandoned.
Yeah, but I figured there was like a company that owned it at some point. I don't remember. Maybe irrelevant.
Yeah. Because I was thrown off when there was actually fuel in the thing. Because I was like, they abandoned it full of fuel. Yeah, he said abandoned. So
well, in the 90s, oil was so plentiful and had no real value. We could just leave it,
Yeah. Except,
it's fine. Just leave it out there.
Except, in the early 90s, we kind of went into war for oil, but,
and we get the feel like a slightly newer Batwing. It might be the same Batwing as the typical animated series, but this time we see it like it's CGI animated.
This is the part I like, the flames.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
The flames specifically looked really cool.
Oh yeah. I see them. Yeah.
Like it changed from the yellow to the blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now his takeoff path is very submarine-esque.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of wiggle room, but I guess that's the cool thing to do.
Right.
But I think that I can't remember if that happened first or they show. There's a disturbing fight with Barbara and the Doctor and Mr. Freeze where it goes to shadow after they try to inject her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She uses a chain to keep him back.
Yep.
It's again like it's another Barbara, and even after that they carry her finally to this operating kind of room area, and she's still, it's like it just looks creepy the way she's struggling and he's tying her, like forcing her onto a bed. It just comes across as like people animating this are like feel like they, I don't know, could have animated it a slightly less not perverse isn't the right word, but just male gazy, leering at this, half-dressed woman, basically. I don't know. Just feels like there's, at this point, there's just a lot of that.
I mean, this all could have been taken care of from this jump. Yeah, while she's still knocked out, have her just strapped in already.
Yeah,
you got a James Bond villain in it.
Yeah,
but she escapes again.
She escapes again. This time, Belson grabs a gun because he has gone on a journey in this movie. At first, he was obviously desperate enough to go along with it. He was still reluctant. He didn't want to kill anybody, but now he's chasing after her with a gun. He is ready to kill her, and I guess just kill her, harvest her organs, and get paid. He's willing to do anything at this point. Like he's changed.
Yeah, I think it changed when he found out he gets an entire vein of gold that Freeze mentioned.
Yeah.
And maybe greed just
totally takes over. Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely loses his mind because he's
for sure
doing what they said not to do on the movie Armageddon and start shooting on an oil rig.
Yeah,
because flammable stuff and all that. Who would have thought?
Right. This whole, from this point to the end of the movie, it's essentially, once the fire starts, the Freeze is still deluded enough to think like you can get her and you can still do this operation, but it's like obviously the fire quickly takes over this oil rig and it becomes more of a rescue situation. But it's also just this amazing action sequence from the time she runs away, to the end of the movie. Basically, it's fantastic, and I think it's probably one of the best animated sequences in any Batman project I've seen. Like some of the animation on on Barbara, on Batman throughout this. There's a really great sequence. The first time Belson shoots the gun, like it's a close up on the barrel, and then it does a focus pull and it zooms in on Belson's face and he looks really evil. Like there's just some amazing animation in this, especially once the fire gets going and you get like the fire light playing off of Barbara's face, and in a few scenes, like, I have nothing bad to say about any of this sequence from here on out.
I'd say once they're on the oil rig, because I did hate the stupid waves when they're flying in that are CG.
There's
looks god awful.
Yeah, sure.
But I did like the what is it, the bat jet, whatever whatever the hell that's called. I liked how it rose up behind him, and that was kind of a cool reveal. And then pretty much at that point, I think all hell breaks loose with the fire.
Like for a minute, Robin has to deal with some polar bears, and then like Batman swoops in to help him. They've got a fire hose that they're trying to put out the fire with, and like I think Batgirl and Belson are still. I think somehow they're separated, but
yeah, there's an explosion and she had to go a different way or something.
Yeah, that's right. She's basically left on her own and is just trying to survive explosions,
yeah.
No, it's really cool. This whole sequence is great.
Yeah, I enjoyed the fake out that
with the
Batman
polar
Robin
bears
do to the
yeah.
But yeah, it gets really intense once Freeze is like giving up the plan to save and just wants to get his wife out of the fire and kind of joins forces a little bit.
He's kind of absent for a big chunk of this. You don't see him until I'm thinking he must bust in somewhere here soon.
I think a big explosion brought him up to the top, maybe.
I mean, listeners, I know
there's
clearly we're both just watching this as it plays out. Yeah, he takes the freight elevator. Okay, he takes the freight elevator up, and he's like, "What the hell is going on out here?" He's trying to stop Batman and Robin. He's still, like I said, deluded enough to think that this is still going to play out, in his favor. But yeah, I think at some point soon he realizes that it's just a matter of like you said, getting Nora, getting Kunak.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about Kunak.
Yeah.
He's still down there.
Yeah.
Oops. And what Barbara's got to go instead of Robin because she knows where they're at.
Yeah.
All that. So Robin's got to stand behind with the jet or Batwing, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the whole like using the freeze gun to clear a path for Batman.
Sure.
By Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. They get to team up a little bit.
At some point Belson wakes up. He's been kind of knocked out by the explosion. And he
see this coming.
Yeah. He and Freeze kind of have a altercation a little bit, and somehow Belson gets the better of Freeze and pushes him or something underneath some falling debris, and then he runs off. Belson runs off to save himself, and then I think the platform he's on starts to fall. Or no, he makes it down to a speedboat down at like the bottom of the oil derrick.
Yeah.
And man, he gets his because he's speeding away, and this falling debris just crushes the speedboat. So he's gone.
I don't remember people like getting taken out like that in a Batman show before. I know, obviously his parents get killed and all that, but
in Mask of the Phantasm, there were a few deaths. Some of the mob bosses get killed, but you don't really see anything. Yeah. It's more implied death. You never see a dead body.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like getting to see somebody crushed and you see people get shot, but they don't really linger on it. Like they pan away, like to a dramatic shot of pearls falling or some crap. And even like with the Joker, it's just people laughing, presumably to death.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, this was the first time I remember going, "Wow, I just saw that dude get crushed."
There's clearly no way he could have gotten away from that. So
yeah.
And then like you said, Barbara has to at this point lead Batman, I think, down to save Nora, save Kunak, and and
then Batman has to try to get Freeze. And he falls to his death, as you assume.
Well, yeah, that's what happens to a villain, fall to their death.
Yeah, I like how the bottom shot looks like it's just a pool of flames, but it's really, I guess, just a section of flames, and underneath the flames is the ocean, or something. Because like the shot where he's like holding on to the grappling hook, it's just like billowing flames underneath.
Yeah.
But then when he drops, it's like, oh, I'm just going through this and then into the water. No big deal.
Yeah.
So it's a little cheeky of them to animate it that way. But he died.
Yeah.
End of story. Credits roll. Batman's got to explain why Dr. Belson's all dead.
Yeah.
Wasn't reported earlier that he was missing. And, But no, of course, the polar bears go off with the little hand that holds on.
Yeah. Little teaser for things to come. It kind of just wraps up real quick too. I mean, Yeah, they save everyone that they can in this. Yeah, Freeze is lost for another day, and
shows back up and finds out his wife is okay now.
through through the Wayne Foundation or something, like they managed to continue the research enough to save her, find a donor, save her. And yeah, Freeze kind of gets a happy ending here. I wish
I forgot my best part. I forgot about it. I just thought it was replayed when Batman's hanging from Batwing after they can't save Freeze. It's the first time I remember him getting tangled up in his cape. Like it wraps around him as he's spinning.
I missed that.
Like I just remember seeing it and be like, I don't think I've ever seen him get tangled up in his own cape before.
That's wild.
Because he's just kind of spinning as he's holding onto the grappling hook because he's outside of the jet. So I thought it was kind of cool looking.
And that's kind of what I meant earlier, just the level of animation and detail that they put into this movie. I think it's a better looking movie than Phantasm.
It's got its dated flaws, but
yeah. For the most part, I think everything in this looks better than any episode of the series. Like this just feels top notch. So, the one thing I think I wish we got some wrap up involving Dick, Barbara, and Bruce, or some combination of those to show that Dick and Barbara may get to finish the date that they went on, or just something. It feels like we save the day there, we get a little Freeze kind of wrap up, and that's it. Like it just feels incomplete, I think.
Yeah, they drop off Canuck at an orphanage and call it a day.
Yeah. It's I like that it's mostly it's a Barbara movie. We haven't gotten that. I'm glad it's not just another Batman Bruce centric episode. It's not even a Robin movie, really. It's it's a Barbara, and it's not even a Batgirl movie. That's kind of another odd thing. Once we only see her as Batgirl that one sequence when they introduce her in this movie. So that's a little strange, but
it's pretty much credits.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze, I'm sure will come back and try to capture his wife somehow, but
he
seems to be content for now.
I think if you were interested in this, in the Batman the animated series Freeze storyline, it's a pretty solid. It's like 4 episodes, and then this movie, and then I think he comes back in one episode of the redesign, like the new adventures of Batman and Robin or whatever. He gets one more episode there, and then he comes back in a Batman Beyond episode. That's pretty cool. So it's like he first appears in Heart of Ice, and then there's an episode called Deep Freeze, which is where I think it ends with Freeze retaining the coffin thing that his wife is in, and which explains why he has her at the start of this movie, because then this movie happens, and then there's an episode called Cold Comfort where you find out, because of the Deep Freeze episode, he met like a robotics guy, and so then this movie happens, and then in, like I said, in Cold Comfort, you find out that his body is like deteriorated enough that he's just a head on a spider leg body piloting a robot. And so that's like what Mr. Freeze is going forward after that. And then, like I said, he's in a Batman Beyond Meltdown episode called Meltdown, where I think he's like, I think they cure him. Like I think they find him, like maybe he's frozen in ice or something, or because he can live a long time, like he's still Mr. Freeze in the future, or he hasn't been like running around as a villain, but they find him somehow, and I think they cure him, and then like the cure starts to fail, and so he basically reverts to like needing to be Mr. Freeze or something like that. I've only seen that episode maybe once or twice, But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could watch, like, if you just wanted to sit down and watch Mr. Freeze stuff, like all of those episodes in this movie back to back. I think that would be a solid, entertaining, little
get the full story
marathon. Yeah, because it's not like he wasn't like a Joker that appeared in 20 some episodes over the, like, he was just in like I said, like 4 episodes. So they told like a complete story more or less.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know about the whole robot body thing.
Yeah, it was a fun change I think they made to his character. But yeah, that's Batman, Mr. Freeze, SubZero. And it sounds like we both had fun with it.
Yeah.
I
mean, it definitely had its flaws and stupidity and most comic book stuff.
Yeah, seems, you kind of know where the detective story is going. The motivations are pretty surface level. Freeze just wants to save his wife. Belson just wants to pay off his debts. Yeah, but
Barbara's playing hard to get with Robin.
Yeah, and Batman just having fun with some 3 ladies and
beating up stockbrokers.
The real scum of the earth.
Yep. I wonder he wears a mask.
What would you say the most villainous moment is?
Planet, these people, they are nothing to me. You were made to be ruled. The universe is power. You unstoppable power. Come to me, son of Jor-El. Kneel before Zod. And I am that force. I am that power. In the end, you will always kneel.
Aside from Batman, obviously well established.
Right, picking on the
poor stockbroker just doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably that scene I mentioned in the shadows with Freeze and the doctor pinning her down for I don't know, the second or third escape attempt. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Because it was just such a disturbing image of them just, it looked like they were beating her into the ground.
Right.
Like her legs are kicking, they're like up higher and going down.
Yeah.
It was just messed up. So that's my most villainous moment.
Okay. Mine's shortly after that. It's when Belson is chasing her and you just see the way they animate his eyes, and he has murder in his eyes, like he's really going after her to kill her. It's such and this guy was never like a nice guy from the start of the movie. He seemed like a dick, at the start, but he was clearly like, he reached a point where he was just totally fine with killing this person and seemed like he just really wanted to. So
he turned from like a greedy asshole to like a person that was okay with murder.
I almost wish that there'd been a scene where Freeze called off the surgery and said no, or maybe like because he saw Barbara with Kunak and saw like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I'm the bad guy here. I can't make this, this girl, I can't kill this girl, and Kunak's here, and what will he think? So I wish there may have been a scene where like he reversed his plan and said, no, we'll find another way. And then Belson was the one that like pushed for it. And maybe that's when he overpowers Freeze and like takes matters into his own hands because he's gold crazy. I don't know.
See, I don't know if Freeze called it off and still would pay him, I don't think he would go that far. I really think he was just super focused on that gold.
Yeah.
So I think as long as he got the gold and it was called off, I don't think he would care because I don't know. He was a weird character. I couldn't track him that well. But I wanted to give a in the villainous category, not quite villainous, but way to go, buddy. Is the submarine crew that started this whole thing.
Of course. Yes, those bastards.
Just busting on through random cave.
They were probably just scouting out a new location for like a Starbucks or a shopping mall or something, just real capitalist greed.
I don't even know what they were doing up there.
It was research, I think it was I think it was a U.S. military led science expedition. Maybe the submarine was clearly like pure U.S. Navy, but the team was like a research thing, I think.
But it's like they knew they were busting into a cave. They're like, oh, it must be a cave. It's like, hey, there could be polar bears in there. You're just gonna bust on through, kill.
Hey, there could be gold in there.
Apparently there was, and they didn't even get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, way to go, guys.
Yeah. What about most heroic?
I believe there's a hero in all of us.
I just finally know what I have to do.
That keeps us honest.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
Gives us strength.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
Makes us noble.
And I know in my heart that it's right.
Definitely wasn't Bruce seeing the flipped car.
Yeah. I shall not be reporting this.
Yeah.
Gordon has enough on his plate.
Yeah. I'll let you go first.
Okay. Mine was just that scene of Dick chasing after Barbara. I really like it. It's just a good, solid chase. I like the determination that Robin gives throughout, and he just could not keep up with him once he got forced to slide off the road, and So yeah, I like it because of the determination, I think.
And the sweet jump with the bicycle, or the motorbike,
for sure.
Yeah, that was an awesome sequence. So,
but there were lots of good hero moments. But what's yours?
I think I like the rising, like I mentioned, of the Batwing behind the Doctor, and then Robin just catapulting onto him.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a cool hero kind of reveal. Like,
right on.
It was like in my head, I was playing like Barbara's soundtrack, and it was like I heard the song "My Boyfriend's Back."
Okay, nice.
For some reason, like
that's awesome.
I think it's because of the way they portrayed the era that I go to like oldies music in my head when I'm watching this era of Batman animation.
Right.
So it just made me think of that randomly. I got problems.
Yeah,
it's my thing. All right. So yeah, now we get to rate this bad boy.
Yeah. Not gonna beat around the bush, but I'm at a 4. Like, it was a solid 4. Okay. It was enjoyable. I would rewatch this one. The animation I thought was outstanding. What did I write? It's a perfect amount of Mr. Freeze, and like I think it's a good Mr. Freeze story as well. And it felt cinematic. I think it felt way more cinematic than the Batman Superman movie we just did, where that one just felt like just a couple episodes stitched together. And
there's commercial break fade-ins, and like
even like the action sequences towards the end was just like Superman fighting another goddamn robot, and he can't even beat it. Whereas here it was like the oil derrick is like blowing up. They got gorgeous lighting on everything, and everyone's just the animation on everybody is really, really solid. So yeah, gave it a 4.
I'm right there with you. Same thing, 4.
Nice.
I enjoyed it. The animation was cool to like pick through the little CG effects that worked, and it was kind of even amusing to see the ones that were super dated and didn't work.
Yeah.
And then I think the oil rig was just awesome sequence. The whole like I'd say I could have done without the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot of exposition and then convenient locations that they have to get all this information. Like, it was just the detective work wasn't that great. It was just like, we got to move this along, and I get that, but at the same time I was like, world's greatest detective or world's luckiest happened to be in the right place to hear.
Right.
And honestly, I laughed out loud when I saw the maps. He just flipped through and pulled out the right one, and all you could see were just lines and ocean. And it's like, oh yes, it's the 4th from the bottom. I have these memorized.
Yeah.
That, and the fact, he's got this giant ass computer room, and he's got to pull out a map.
Hey, yeah,
The thing doesn't have MapQuest on it. Come on. It's 98. I know it does.
Yeah. Oh,
and I
man.
love that it's still a giant ass computer. Like,
yeah,
it's not 1956. We're not, still
Right.
trying to get the first man to the moon. Let's upgrade that. You got a cell phone.
Yeah.
I feel like the cell phone is probably more powerful than the Bat computer at this point.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun to watch. I'd watch it again if it popped on.
Right on.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go out of my way to watch it, but
Yeah.
if it happened to jump into like Netflix or something as a thing that was up and available, I'd throw it on probably.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good job.
Yeah. Yeah. So that means that coming up next is Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D, which is a David Hasselhoff TV movie pilot sort of thing. There's like an NBC movie of the week sort of thing, but it was meant to be a pilot for a S.H.I.E.L.D series.
I think I pinched my nerve again, Travis. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
Watch the Hoff.
Yeah.
So how would one go about watching this?
I will
have to get a computer virus. Or...
Yeah. I will have a way for us to watch it. I should be able to get. We'll work things out offline.
You got in with the Hoff.
Well, the next best thing.
Just offer him a cheeseburger. He'll help you out.
So yeah. What else? Did you? So we missed you on a last couple episodes. Did you happen to watch Dark City before before you knew you weren't able to record? Okay.
I know it's freaky and I do want to watch it.
It's really good.
I just was like in no mood to watch
yeah. I wasn't sure if like it was one of those where you were able to watch it but weren't able to record. I was curious if you had thoughts on it. I would recommend it. I mean, it like next time you're in the mood to watch the first Matrix, watch Dark City instead. Like, don't rush out to see Dark City if you're just not in the mood for dark sci-fi. But yeah,
I saw it a while ago, like when it came out.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with it.
Gotcha.
It has been a while, and I think it was a little too weird for me at the time.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Like I know, it's Kiefer Sutherland, and like the city moves, and there's weirdos and all that stuff. Like I got the gist of it.
Okay,
and it's we controlling society and all that. But
we had an interesting like episode on it because I watched it through iTunes the first time. And then I think the next night I watched it through other means and then realized like, oh, there's a director's cut. So then watched the director's cut. Our guest only watched the director's cut, didn't know that there was a theatrical cut, or I think is
it wasn't like labeled, obviously.
Like iTunes,
like we did with Aliens.
Like iTunes just didn't give me an option. They just only gave me the theatrical. So that's what I watched first. So, but it was interesting to be able to go through and see the differences, especially like, because there was one thing that they cut out that was like, it changes a big part of the movie,
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, we learned that on the Aliens episode where I had a totally different experience with the ending and everything.
Absolutely.
That was probably my favorite episode because we're like, did we watch the same movie?
Yeah,
what happened?
No. So it was okay. It was shades of that.
Is it
in our episode?
Longer?
Like 10 minutes.
Okay.
It was a lot of like, let's just extend every sequence. We'll just linger on this shot a little bit longer. But then there were like a couple things where it went on like, here's another 30 seconds of this clip. And here's maybe a 2-minute scene that you don't get, elsewhere. Just, yeah.
My favorite director's cut is Commando.
Okay.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a minute longer. They changed up like Alyssa Milano's dialogue to be a little I will say saucier with the kidnappers.
Okay.
So you don't really gain much there. It's just changed dialogue.
Yeah.
And then like they literally added in basically some more gratuitous violence in like a couple scenes. So but it was like my favorite instance of a director's cut.
Pointless director's cut.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, a minute difference, really? What?
That's great.
That's probably like the weirdest example I've had with
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I like it when I don't know if we should do that going forward, maybe, where like we take a look at both if there's
Yeah.
different versions. Obviously, when we get to the Snyderverse, that's gonna
sure.
those are drastically different movies, but
yeah. Yeah, I would be up for that.
But
to just both watch different versions. I don't know. Looking forward, like what I know when we get to 2003, Daredevil has a theatrical and a director's cut. But between now and then, I'd have to look at each instance of whatever we're covering and see what has.
Yeah, I did do some research to see if there's multiple versions or something.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of fun when we accidentally ran into it on Aliens.
yeah, that was a perfect storm.
Yeah. And whether or not it's worth, because I think it'd also be cool to let the listeners know if one's better than the other. Because not the director's cut's not always the best cut.
Yeah, I mean, my takeaway from Dark City was like I watched the theatrical and then I watched the director's cut, and I didn't feel like I gained much from the director's cut. And so my takeaway was more like whatever version you happen to watch first is probably going to be your preferred version. But I think I'm in the minority there. I think the director's cut seems to be the preferred version with that particular movie, but I can see why. I didn't see that one first, so I didn't, So the twists were already revealed to me. Like I already knew.
Sure.
So I think that's part of what it was, but
okay.
Anyways.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's about it for
Batman
and Mr. Freeze there.
Oh, I wanted to just add I don't know if you've watched any movies we have already covered like in a while. I found myself I think between our last episode and this one, I ended up watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, Batman 89, for the first time since we recorded, on those movies. And then I also was like, one night I was in the mood for a James Bond, and so I threw on Dr. No, watched that, had a good time with it. I ended up watching From Russia with Love a couple days or maybe a week later, and then Goldfinger. So I'm kind of doing a loose, a Bond rewatch. But yeah, it's been interesting, like rewatching these movies that we've talked about now for the first time. So I don't know if you've gone back and watched anything.
Yeah, I've watched Raiders and Last Crusade.
Okay.
Just because it's on like Disney Plus right now, because the new one just came out.
Right.
And watched Starship Troopers again.
Nice.
But I watch that like at least once a year. So, and what was the other one I watched? There's another one on our list. Oh, Superman, the first one.
Nice. I've not watched that one since, so yeah, maybe I should check that out.
Because I watched the Snyderverse cut of Justice League. I'll save my thoughts for 10 years from now. But it got me in the mood to see the Christopher Reeves Superman. So I watched that, and it was kind of funny because I'd hear our conversation sometimes, like when I'd hit a scene.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Oh yeah, Travis loved that part. Oh, I hated that part."
Nice.
Yeah. So it's been interesting rewatching stuff we do cover, because I do think back onto what we discussed a little bit.
It's funny watching those early Bonds, because we did those audio commentary, and it's like that was such a bad idea, because there were scenes where maybe we just couldn't talk about, or didn't have anything to say, or tried to pause to go to the bathroom and then had to like pause or record and play
the movie.
just the whole we were not set up to do audio commentary, so
no. So, I ended up just watching the action scenes.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Little lessons learned.
Yep. But yeah, that's gonna do it, I think. So yeah, we'll be back with Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Timely, I guess, with the secret invasion that's
Yep.
Out currently. I think it's wrapping up. I think maybe tonight is the final episode, maybe. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I usually just wait for it to all come out and binge
it. Yeah. We binged most of it, so I think we just have the last episode left.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that'll do it. And how do we wrap these up?
Stay warm, citizens.
That's right. That's it.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Find the show on Facebook and Twitter at Real Comic Heroes. All music and audio are the property of their respective creators.